The arrow whistled past my ear. I didn't look back. My camel spat pink foam, its legs devouring sand in desperate rhythm. Behind me, hoofbeats thundered closer, much closer. They had come at dawn. 17 years I'd lived among those adobe streets, and in one morning they reduced it all to ash. The screams still echoed in my skull. My mother's face as the flames took our home. My father pushing me toward the stables, shouting one word, "Run!" I ran. Another arrow. This one grazed my shoulder, tearing fabric and skin. The pain was distant, unreal. Everything was unreal now. The soldiers were shouting something behind me. Orders, curses. I couldn't tell. Didn't matter. All that mattered was the horizon, the endless desert stretching before me like a promise of nothing. Then the sky changed. It didn't darken gradually. One moment blinding sun. The next, the world turned the color of old blood. The sandstorm hit like a living wall, wind strong enough to peel flesh from bone. I tried to scream, but sand filled my mouth, my throat. The camel shrieked, a sound I'd never heard from an animal before, pure animal terror, and then it wasn't beneath me anymore. I was falling, tumbling through darkness that roared. My hands clawed at nothing, sand in my eyes, my nose, everywhere. The world spun. I couldn't tell which way was up. Then impact, hard, final, then nothing. I woke to silence so complete it hurt my ears. Sand filled my mouth. I spat, coughed, tasted copper, blood, mine. I forced my eyes open. The night sky above me was wrong. The stars were too large, too close, pulsing like living things. I'd crossed this desert countless times and never seen stars like this. Every muscle screamed as I pushed myself up. Ribs definitely cracked, shoulder still bleeding, the blood already dried to a crust in the desert heat that lingered even after sunset. My camel lay 20 meters away, dead, its side still faintly warm when I collapsed beside it, my hands shaking as I reached for the saddlebags. The water skin had burst. The sand beneath it was already dry, as if the desert had drunk every drop in seconds. No, 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 no. My voice cracked. 2 days to the nearest settlement, maybe 3. Without water I had hours, maybe less. This is how I die, I thought, not by the army, by thirst. Then I saw it. It gleamed in the moonlight, half buried in sand that had spilled from the torn saddlebag. Gold, old, covered in symbols I'd never seen before. An oil lamp. Small, ornate, and it absolutely had not been in my saddlebag that morning. I picked it up with trembling hands. It was heavier than it looked, cold, despite the desert heat. The symbols seemed to shift in the moonlight, or maybe that was dehydration playing tricks. There was something else, a feeling, like the lamp was watching me, waiting. My thumb rubbed across the surface, brushing away sand. The smoke that poured from the spout was blue, not like any smoke I'd ever seen. It moved. Wrong, too fluid, too purposeful. It rose in a column, spreading, taking shape, taking her shape. She materialized from smoke like a nightmare gaining substance. Blue skin that glowed with its own light. Gold eyes with vertical pupils that caught the moonlight like a predator's. Black hair that floated around her head, as if underwater. She was beautiful in the way a cobra is beautiful, mesmerizing and deadly. Her smile was too wide, showing too many teeth. "Finally," she breathed. Her voice like silk dragged over broken glass. "How long has it been?" She looked at her hands, turning them over as if surprised to see them. Her fingers were too long, too elegant, decorated with rings that seemed fused to her skin. I couldn't speak, couldn't move. My mind was trying to categorize what I was seeing and failing completely. Her eyes locked onto mine. The smile widened. "You freed me, mortal. That makes you mine." "What?" My voice broke. "What are you?" She drifted closer without moving her legs, defying physics, defying reason. Up close, she smelled of spices I'd never encountered, of places that shouldn't exist. "I am your salvation," she whispered, her cold breath on my face. "Or your damnation. You haven't decided yet." My lips were cracked, bleeding. My tongue felt like leather in my mouth. "Water," I croaked. "I need water." Something flickered in her golden eyes. Satisfaction? Hunger? "Your first wish, granted." She snapped her fingers. The ground beneath me trembled. Sand shifted, swirled. Something was moving under the surface, rising, pushing upward with terrible force. The spring burst forth 3 meters away, crystal clear water fountaining into the night air. Impossible and real. I didn't think. I threw myself toward it, fell face first into the pool forming around the spring. I drank like an animal, gulping, gasping, drowning in relief. It tasted strange, sweet and metallic at once, cold in a way that went beyond temperature. It was the coldest thing I'd ever felt, spreading through my chest like ice crystallizing in my veins. When I finally lifted my head, water dripping from my beard, she was watching me with that same predatory smile. "One wish fulfilled," she said softly. "Two remain." I was still catching my breath when I noticed my hands. There, just beneath the skin of my wrists, the faintest trace of blue. Like veins, but wrong. "What?" I touched the blue lines. They felt cold. "What is this?" "Payment," she said simply. Then she dissolved into smoke, her laughter hanging in the air like poison. The lamp fell to the sand with a heavy thud. I stared at the blue lines on my wrists as they slowly faded from view, but I could still feel them, under my skin, waiting. I didn't sleep. How could I? Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the blue veins spreading, saw her smile, heard her voice. Payment. By dawn, the sun rose wrong, pale and distant, as if it had forgotten how to warm the world. I had to move. The army might have survived the storm. They might still be hunting me. And now I had this thing hanging from my belt, pulsing with unnatural weight. But where could I go? The nearest settlement was 2 days away, without a camel, without supplies. In this heat, I'd die before nightfall. Unless my hand moved to the lamp before I consciously decided to touch it. The metal was ice cold. I rubbed it. The smoke came faster this time, eager. She materialized with a sound like wind through a crypt, her smile already in place. "So soon?" Her voice was pleased, almost tender. "Do you long for my company, or just for what I can give you?" "I need shelter," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Somewhere safe, somewhere the army can't find me." Her golden eyes gleamed. She drifted closer, circling me like a shark. "You ask for protection?" She made the word sound obscene. "Careful, mortal. Refuges can become prisons very quickly. I swallowed. "Just give me somewhere safe." "As you wish." This time she didn't snap her fingers. She placed both palms against the sand, and the world broke. There's no other way to describe it. The desert split like a stage curtain being drawn back, and behind it, a city. It rose from nothing, impossible and ancient. White stone towers reaching toward the sky. Walls covered in the same symbols as the lamp. Fountains flowing in empty squares. Empty, completely, utterly empty. The gates stood open, as if the city had been waiting for me, waiting for centuries. "Your refuge," the genie said, floating toward the entrance. Her voice echoed strangely off the white stone. "No army will find you here, I promise you that." I walked through the gates on numb feet. The stone was cold beneath me, smooth as glass. The city was beautiful. The city was perfect. The city was dead, not destroyed, just absent, as if everyone had simply stopped existing in the middle of their lives. A table set for dinner, the food fossilized on plates, a door left open, a child's toy abandoned in the middle of a street. No bodies, no bones, just the terrible, pressing silence of a place that should be full of life and wasn't. "Where is everyone?" I whispered. She materialized directly in front of me, so close I could see my reflection in her golden eyes. "They left." Her smile was razor sharp. "Long ago, when they made their third wish." The words hit me like a physical blow. "Their third wish. Did you think you were the first?" She laughed, and it echoed through empty streets. This city was home to hundreds, maybe thousands. All of them found a lamp. All of them made their wishes. And when they asked for the third, she gestured at the emptiness around us. "They became this." She vanished, leaving me alone in the city of ghosts. I explored because I didn't know what else to do. Every street was a monument to interrupted lives. Every building a mausoleum of the ordinary. In one house I found children's toys carved from wood. A horse, a doll, little figures worn smooth by small hands. They sat in a perfect circle on the floor, as if the children had just stepped away. In another, a loom with thread still taut, a pattern half finished. The weaver's tools laid out beside it, waiting for hands that would never return. No violence, no destruction, just absence, as pure and complete as death. I found myself in the central square as the strange pale sun reached its zenith. A fountain dominated the space, water flowing clear and cold. My reflection stared back at me, and I saw them, the blue veins, no longer faint traces, visible now dark as ink under my skin. They branched up my forearms like rivers, like cracks in porcelain, spreading with each heartbeat. I touched my face with shaking hands. There were more, fine lines tracing my cheeks, my forehead. "No," I whispered, "no, no, no. It's natural." I spun around, heart hammering. She sat on the edge of the fountain, as if she'd been there all along. Her reflection didn't appear in the water. "What's natural?" My voice came out broken. "What are you doing to me?" "I'm not doing anything." She ran a finger across the water's surface, and where she touched, the water froze into impossible geometric patterns. "You're changing, adapting. Wishes aren't free, mortal. Nothing is. You didn't tell me. You didn't ask. Her smile was almost pitying. 2 wishes fulfilled. Water from nothing. Shelter from emptiness. Pure creation. Did you really think your mortal flesh could contain such power without consequence? I staggered backward, the cold in my stomach, the cold from the water was spreading, growing, reaching for my heart. What's happening to me? She stood, glided toward me. Every step was silent on the stone. You're becoming like me. She gripped my chin, forcing me to meet her eyes. Every wish is an exchange. You receive, I receive, and what I receive, mortal, is your humanity, drop by drop, breath by breath. No, I tried to pull away but couldn't move. Her grip was iron cold. No, I won't. The 3rd wish is the definitive one. Her voice dropped to a whisper, intimate and terrible. The one that completes the transformation. You could ask for it now. Vengeance against those who burned your village. Power to reshape the world. Immortality. Each word dripped with poison honey. Or, she continued, you can refuse. Stay like this, halfway between my world and yours. Never fully human, never fully other. Trapped in this twilight existence until you go mad or the desert claims you. Why? The word ripped out of me. Why are you doing this? For the first time, something cracked in her perfect mask. Something that looked almost like pain. Because someone did it to me, she whispered. And the cycle continues, forever, unless what? But she was already dissolving into smoke, her final words hanging in the air. Unless you choose. Differently, night fell too fast, as if the sun was fleeing. I locked myself in one of the empty houses, barricaded the door. Outside, shadows moved through streets that should be empty. I told myself it was my imagination, the stress, the transformation. I told myself a lot of lies that night. The blue veins had spread to my elbows, my knees. They glowed faintly in the darkness, pulsing with my heartbeat. I wrapped them in strips torn from ancient curtains, but even covered, I could feel them. Cold, spreading, changing me cell by cell. Footsteps on the stairs, slow, dragging. I froze, pressed against the wall, barely breathing. Hello? My voice cracked. Who's there? The footsteps stopped. Silence. Heavy. Waiting. Then, from downstairs, the sound of dishes being set, the clink of pottery, the soft scrape of chairs on stone. I crept down the stairs, each step an eternity. The dining room was full. Not with people, with food, fresh food, steaming bowls of rice, roasted meat, bread that looked like it had just come from the oven. The table was set for 3 places, 3 wishes, 3 souls. The genie sat at the head of the table, blue fire crackling in the fireplace behind her. I thought you might be hungry, she said conversationally. Mortals are always hungry. I'm not eating that. I backed toward the door. It's not mine, it's yours. She poured wine into a crystal glass. You wanted it, though you didn't speak the wish aloud. Desire is enough. Longing is enough. My stomach betrayed me, growling loudly in the silence. 1 bite doesn't count as a wish. Her voice was seductive, understanding. It's just survival. I stared at the food. When had I last eaten? Before the village burned, before everything ended. Why do you do this? I whispered. What do you gain? The mask cracked again, wider this time. Freedom. The word came out desperate, hungry. Every mortal who completes 3 wishes weakens my chains. 3 souls, 3 wishes each, 9 broken links. You've given me 2. She leaned forward, and for a moment she looked almost human, almost like someone who'd suffered as much as I had. 1 more, she breathed. 1 more wish, and I take 1 more step toward breaking free. And what do I become? My replacement. Simple, brutal, honest. The lamp needs a guardian. The cycle continues. I finally escape this existence. And you, she gestured at herself, you become this. The blue fire exploded outward, filling the room with cold light. You know what's worst? Her voice echoed from everywhere and nowhere. Most of them ask for the 3rd anyway, even knowing, even understanding, because being halfway hurts too much. When the fire faded, she was gone. The food rotted instantly. Centuries of decay in seconds, collapsing into dust and crawling things. I ran. I made it to the central square before my legs gave out. The pain was unlike anything I'd ever known. Not physical, deeper than that, like my very existence was being rewritten, torn apart, and reassembled wrong. The bandages on my arms shredded. The veins weren't just blue anymore. They glowed, bright as starlight, pulsing, spreading, racing up my shoulders, down toward my hands, up my neck, toward my face. I screamed. The sound echoed off dead stone, answered only by silence. I crawled to the fountain, needed to see, needed to know. The reflection in the water wasn't human. Blue veins covered my face now, intricate as frost patterns on glass. My eyes, God, my eyes, they were changing color, the brown fading to gold at the edges. It hurts, doesn't it? I didn't even flinch. Part of me could sense when she materialized now, as if we were becoming connected. Make it stop, I whispered. Please, I can't. She knelt beside me, and for the first time, she looked genuinely regretful. No one can. This is the second wish, the realization. The first is temptation. The third is choice. But the second, she touched my arm, and where her fingers traced, the pain lessened slightly. The second is understanding. Understanding that there's no going back, that you're trapped between worlds unless you complete the transformation. Then I'll stay trapped. I pulled away from her touch. I won't ask for the third. She studied me for a long moment. The others said that too, for days, weeks. But transformation half finished is agony, and it gets worse. Every hour, every day, the pain grows until you're screaming for release. She stood, circling me. Your village is destroyed. The army hunts you. You have no future, no home, no hope. All you have is suffering, unless you ask for the third wish. Then I'll suffer. Silence. She stopped circling, stared at me with something I couldn't name. Do you know why they ask for the third? Her voice was soft. It's not for power. It's not for revenge. It's because being halfway hurts too much. The third wish is mercy. I don't care. You will. She began to fade. You will. Wait. The word burst out before I could stop it. Tell me how you became this. Tell me your story. She paused, half dissolved into smoke. Why? Because if I'm going to refuse to become you, I should know who you were. She reformed slowly, sat beside me on the fountain's edge. For the first time, she looked tired. I was a merchant, she said quietly. Simple life, good parents, a little sister I loved more than anything. Her voice was distant, remembering across centuries. The army came, different army, same fire. They killed everyone. I escaped with a caravan, thought I was safe. Then I found the lamp in a merchant's stall. An old man sold it to me for 3 coins, said it would bring me luck. She laughed bitterly. The genie who emerged was different from me, male, ancient, with eyes that had seen the universe die and be reborn. He offered me the same thing I offer you. And you asked for all 3 wishes. The first was food, the second was safe passage, and the third, her voice cracked. I asked for my sister to be alive. I asked for it all to be undone. I begged him to turn back time. What happened? I woke up in the lamp. Tears glowed blue on her cheeks. My sister was still dead, the village still burned, and the genie, he was gone, free. After thousands of years, he was finally free. She looked at me with ancient pain. Wishes don't raise the dead, they don't change the past, they only replace the living. We sat in silence as the strange stars wheeled overhead. There has to be another way, I said finally, some way to break the cycle. There isn't, believe me, I've searched for millennia. What if we destroyed the lamp? She turned so fast her hair whipped around. Her eyes were wide, gold flashing in the darkness. What? The lamp? What happens if we destroy it before I make the third wish? No one has ever. She stopped, stood, paced. The rules don't say. They never accounted for someone refusing the third wish. So it might work. It might kill us both. She spun to face me. Or trap us in something worse. Or it might free us. Silence, heavy with possibility and terror. The lamp, she whispered. It's been a part of me for so long. Without it, you'd be yourself. Not a genie, not a prisoner, just yourself. She stared at me for an eternity, then slowly reached into the smoke that perpetually surrounded her. The lamp materialized in her hands. If this goes wrong, then we'll die together instead of apart. I stood, every muscle screaming. The blue veins pulsed brighter. That's better than this. She looked at the lamp, at me, at the lamp again. No one has ever refused the third wish, she said quietly. Not in all the centuries, not once. You could have everything, power, immortality, revenge. Why? Because I already lost everything once? I met her eyes. If I become what destroyed me, then they win. The army, the fire, all of it, they win. I held out my hand. Give me the lamp. Her hands trembled as she extended it. This could be the end of everything. Good. I took it. It was heavy as grief, cold as death. I'm tired of beginnings. She smiled through tears. What's your name? In all of this, I never asked. Kareem. I raised the lamp above my head. And you? I don't remember. I lost it centuries ago. Then choose a new one. She thought for a moment. Nadia. It meant hope once, in my language. Nadia. I nodded. Are you ready? No, she smiled. But do it anyway. I smashed the lamp against the stone floor. The world didn't just break, it unmade. Reality shattered into fragments, each piece reflecting something different. Memory, possibility, nightmare, truth. I saw my village burning in one shard, my parents' faces in another, Nadia's sister falling, the genie who trapped her, laughing as he dissolved into freedom. Then the fragments dissolved too, and there was only void, not darkness. Void, the absence of existence. Are you there? My voice had no sound, existed only as thought. Yes, her presence pressed against mine in the nothingness. Are we dying? I don't know. I've never died before. Not really. Are we alive? I don't know that either. Our memories began to bleed together. I saw her life, really saw it. Her childhood, her laughter with her sister, the smell of bread baking in her mother's oven. The moment the army came, her sister's scream, cutting off mid-breath. And she saw mine. My father teaching me to trade. My mother singing while she worked. The smoke rising, the screaming. The desperate flight. We're the same, she whispered into the void. We've always been the same. Victims pretending to be monsters. Monsters pretending to be victims. The void began to change. Colors bleeding into the nothing. First blue like her skin had been. Then brown like the desert. Then gold like the lamp. Then every color at once. Something's happening. The lamp, it's gone. I can't feel it anymore. Is that good? I don't know. It was part of me for so long. Without it, I don't know what I am. Then we'll figure it out together. The colors solidified into shapes. Familiar shapes, sand, sky, stars. But different, wrong, right. I think we're free. Reality snapped back into existence like a rubber band released. I woke with sand in my mouth. Real sand. Grainy, uncomfortable, perfect. I coughed, spat, laughed. Everything hurt. My ribs, my shoulder, my head, glorious mortal pain, the kind that meant I was alive. Nadia? I pushed myself up, panic flaring. Nadia! She lay a few meters away, motionless. No blue glow, no floating hair. Just a woman lying in the sand, dressed in tattered robes that looked centuries old. No, 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 no! I crawled to her, shook her shoulder. Nadia, wake up! Wake up! She gasped, eyes flying open. Brown eyes, completely perfectly brown. Did it? She touched her face with shaking hands. Did it work? I looked at my own arms. The blue veins were gone. Just normal skin, human skin, scarred and sunburned and real. I think so. My voice cracked. I think we're human. She sat up slowly, staring at her hands like she'd never seen them before, turning them over, flexing her fingers. I can feel everything, she whispered. The heat, the sand, the pain. She looked at me with wonder and terror. It hurts. Welcome back, she laughed, then cried, then laughed again. We held each other in the sand as the sun, one sun, real and hot and unmerciful, beat down on our mortal backs. What now? She finally asked. Now? I looked around at the empty desert. No city, no lamp, no army, just sand stretching to infinity. Now we figure out how to survive. We walked for hours before we saw the smoke on the horizon. A caravan or a camp, signs of human life. We stopped on a dune, looking down at the distant fires. What if they're hostile? Nadia asked. Then we run. What if they recognize you? Then we run faster, she smiled. That's your plan? Run? I'm mortal now. My plans are terrible. I started down the dune. Coming? She followed. Your plans were always terrible. The camp was larger than I expected. Dozens of tents, hundreds of people, a trading caravan by the looks of it. A guard saw us approaching, two figures in rags, sunburned and stumbling. He raised his spear but didn't attack. Who are you? He called in a dialect I barely understood. Survivors, I answered. From the storm. He studied us. Our clothes were destroyed, our feet bleeding, our faces gaunt with thirst and hunger. Whatever he saw satisfied him. Come, the leader will decide. He led us through the camp to a large central tent. Inside, an older man studied maps by lamplight. He looked up as we entered. His eyes widened slightly. I know you. My blood froze. The village 3 days north. The army burned it to the ground, looking for a deserter. His gaze moved from me to Nadia and back. The bounty was substantial. Nadia tensed beside me, ready to run. I managed. The leader smiled grimly. The army was caught in a sandstorm 2 days after. None survived. The desert took them. I thought of the lamp breaking, of reality shattering, of consequences rippling outward in ways we'd never understand. So, there's no bounty, I said carefully. No bounty. He turned back to his maps. But the caravan always needs workers. There's water at the barrel. Food after sunset. You earn your keep starting tomorrow. We nodded, too stunned to speak. Outside, the camp was settling into evening routines. Fires being lit, food being prepared, children laughing, life continuing in its stubborn, beautiful way. We found a spot near the communal fire. Someone handed us flatbread. Another offered water. We ate. We drank. It tasted like survival, like tomorrow, like the rest of our lives. Kareem? Nadia said quietly. Yeah, thank you. For what? For being selfish enough not to ask for the third wish. I smiled. Thank you for giving me the lamp, even knowing what it meant. We sat in comfortable silence as the stars emerged. Real stars, not too large, not too close, just distant points of light in an infinite universe that didn't care about us at all. And somehow, That was perfect. That night I dreamed of the city. It still existed somewhere, in some space between worlds. The empty streets, the frozen fountains, the houses waiting for inhabitants who would never return. And written on the walls, in languages from 1,000 dead civilizations, the same message repeated over and over: don't ask for the third. But there was a new message now, carved in fresh script: or break the lamp. In the impossible distance, fragments of gold gleamed in sand that never was. The lamp pieces scattered across that threshold world, waiting. Somewhere someone would find them. Someone would put them back together. Someone would wish, and the cycle would begin again. Unless they chose differently, unless they broke the lamp, unless they remembered that freedom costs everything, and nothing, and is worth every price. I woke to find Nadia awake too, staring at the same stars I'd been watching in my dream. You saw it too, she said, not a question. The city, the messages, we didn't end it. Her voice was sad. The cycle continues. No, I sat up. We showed there's another way. We carved a new message on those walls. And somewhere, someone will read it. Someone will choose. You really believe that? I have to. I looked at my hands, completely human now. No trace of blue. Otherwise, what was the point? She smiled. Hope. Hope. The sun rose over the desert. One sun, golden and warm and unmistakably real. The caravan began to stir, tents being packed, camels being loaded, life moving forward. Karim? Nadia asked as we stood, brushing sand from our clothes. Yeah? Do you regret it? Refusing the power? The immortality? Everything the third wish would have given you? I thought about it, really thought about it, about the blue veins spreading, about the city of ghosts, about the choice between becoming a monster with power or remaining human with nothing. Ask me again in 50 years, I said. You won't have 50 years. You're mortal now. Exactly, I smiled. Ask me again in 50 years, and if I'm still alive to answer, you'll know I made the right choice. She laughed. Real laughter, human laughter, with no trace of smoke or magic or ancient hunger. Then let's make sure we both live that long. We joined the caravan as it began to move. Just 2 more travelers in a long line of travelers, crossing the desert toward distant cities, toward unknown futures, toward lives we'd have to earn with every breath. Behind us, the desert stretched empty and eternal. Somewhere in its depths, in a space between worlds, a city waited, fountains flowing, messages carved, warnings written, and somewhere else in the real desert of sand and sun, fragments of a golden lamp lay scattered and waiting for someone to find them, waiting for someone to make the same choice, waiting for the cycle to end, or continue, or transform into something new. But that was someone else's story. This one, ours, had just begun.